Hi everyone, Michael Kushner here. I am so excited and humbled that Lindsay Warfield asked me to be the 2020 keynote speaker for Florida District Thespians. This is all really wild because I used to participate in Thespians in high school, so thank you for allowing me to talk to you. And you're all rock stars. You're all amazing rock stars. When I was about 8 years old, I remember driving to karate lessons with my mom. In the car, we'd be playing the Broadway album of Les Mis. I was already taught stage left from stage right by my Grandma Penny in front of the Mary Poppins VHS. When I was about 4 or 5, I broke so many umbrellas because I couldn't stop believing that I was Mary Poppins herself. There was a time where I wasn't seen without an umbrella in my hand. Also, not sure if you know what a VHS is, but for you folks out there that like vintage things, a VHS was a big black plastic block that you'd pop into a slot like a DVD player and then have to fast forward or rewind, but not too much or too fast because the actual black tape inside could unwind, losing your footage forever. And you need to get the VHS carefully marked because your mom could tape over your bar or bat mitzvah with Days of Our Lives. Luckily, that didn't happen to me, mainly because I canceled my bar mitzvah. Why? Oh, because of Thespians. But more on that later. So where was I? Right, okay, driving karate. I loved karate. It all was about discipline and achieving goals. Nothing was handed to you, so I actually achieved something. It was the best feeling ever. I stuck with it long enough where I made demo team, a team where we competed in competitions. We came up with skits where defending yourself was appropriate, and the one I came up with was someone was trying to beat me up to steal my Pokemon cards, so I was able to defend myself and my Pokemon cards. We were left to choreograph the fights, choose the music, even write a little scene in the beginning. Look, it wasn't Broadway, but it was sort of the first glimpse into show business. Karate taught me about community. It taught me about strength. Karate taught me about perseverance. But then I started to find interest in something else. The theater. Ah yes, the theater. The theater was already starting to infiltrate my life, though I didn't know it would become my journey. I never had that experience like my friends where some of them didn't know what a bagel was until college or that being an actor was a career until college. My biggest question for those people are who are your friends and get out immediately. But really, my grandma was a community theater actress in Long Island, New York. She would produce shows at the Jewish Community Center, but under slightly different names so they didn't have to pay the rights. Forever Fanny was, you guessed it, Funny Girl. Peddler on the Stoop was, yes, Fiddler on the Roof. That was the 80s. Here's a lesson for producing in 2020. Don't do that. I had been surrounded with the possibilities in the theater my whole life. And at 9 years old, my first show was Mary Poppins with the Carl Springs Center for the Performing Arts. Now run by Cynthia O'Brien. They are still running strong in Carl Springs, and they have single-handedly inspired countless careers in the theatrical arts. I remember that first day in the theater, I was introduced to tradition after tradition after tradition. I can still taste the Domino's pizza and Pepsi before opening night. The cast hanging out in the green room, getting our Britney Spears head mics, the list goes on. It was a connection that immediately had me hooked. You hear so many in the theater talk about moments like this, yet so many people go throughout their lives without experiencing true connection or camaraderie or safety. Built into the program, we made our own costumes, we wrote our own scenes, we were able to create on so many different levels. Flash forward to high school where I attended American Heritage School in Plantation, Florida. Elena Garcia, still one of my biggest inspirations, was my acting teacher. For our final during sophomore year, we had to write, produce, direct, design, and perform our own one-person shows. I wrote my show while I directed Emily's, and Ariel directed mine, and Nicole designed my show, and yada yada yada. It forced us to learn about so much about the theater, more than just performing, more than just designing, but how to balance, how to make decisions on your own, how to handle many different art forms at once. It's something I call multihyphenating. Let me explain. These moments in high school helped me survive the quarantine. As we all know, in March, the industry shut down. We have all heard that phrase, but what does that mean? Industry shut down. It means that the theater is closed, which put actors, stage managers, company managers, house managers, technicians, ushers, lighting designers, costume designers, music directors, assistants, box office managers, dramaturgs, doormen, and dressers all out of work. That also bled into the world of the theater that we don't see, like photographers, producers, agents, managers, writers, directors, videographers, press reps, casting directors, assistants, rehearsal and audition spaces, and more, which also feeds into the world that supports the theater, and tourists, like restaurants, waiters, caterers, stores like La Duca, Lululemon, Capizio, site-specific performances like Broadway and Bryant Park, which employs event managers and specialists, security for actors, Ubers and Lyft drivers, hotels and airports. So when they say that the industry is shut down, it's not just that we can't see shows, it's that thousands of people are out of work, and chances are someone you know has been affected by it, whether they know it or not. That being said, one thing we can all agree on is there has been a shift, or a pivot, as many people are saying. I feel like I said that as Winifred Sanderson, and I kind of love that. So what is multi-hyphenation? Being a multi-hyphenate is an artist who has multiple proficiencies that cross-pollinate to help flourish professional capabilities. That's a lot of words. I talk about this a lot, so, okay. I have a podcast about this subject on Broadway Podcast Network. I write about this subject for Backstage, and I have a book coming out. But what does it mean? It means I do a lot of things. I'm a performer, a photographer, a writer, and a producer. And I use different tools of my artistry to affect the others. I now run my own business and fully make a living off of just my art. No survival job. Your adults are right, though. The industry is hard, but thrilling. Why do something easy? Why not challenge yourself and have a great time doing it? This year marks 20 years I've been in the industry. I started as a child actor and then went to high school and then went to Ithaca College and studied musical theater. I graduated, did the out-of-town tryout of the Broadway revival of On the Town, became an equity actor, got fired from that out-of-town tryout of what could have been my first Broadway show, and then I moved to the city. But when I say fired, it wasn't dramatic. I, along with a few cast members, were just not asked to continue with the show, and it happens. Why? Well, because the industry is difficult, but instead of sulking, I pivoted. I said, how can I find joy and stability in this industry where there is often so much sadness? So I pivoted my thought process, my actions, and my whole life. I started telling stories through my camera, which helped me create income, which helped me meet people, which helped me quit my survival jobs, which helped me produce my own projects, which helped me make my own decision, which helped me work with people that I've idolized for years, which helped me become my own boss. I changed my state of mind, I pivoted, and thanks to that, and the opportunities that my educators provided me with, I became one of the leading multi-hyphenates in the Broadway community in New York City. And yes, that's exactly what you're doing. I'm coming to you virtually to kick off Florida Thespians, something that was never meant to be virtual, but in the spirit of adapting and bringing truth to any situation, you young artists are doing what must be done. You've pivoted. You're persevering, focusing, and staying joyful. Now there's that word again, perseverance. Perseverance means persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. Difficulty, delay. We are experiencing those roadblocks right now, but just like characters in your scenes or monologues, songs, plays, or more, every character has an obstacle and tactics to overcome them. If this was a musical or a play, Stephen Sondheim or Lynn Nottage or Shakespeare would be writing a big scene where our characters figure out how to continue on with Thespians. And if this were your play, you're figuring out which scenes to choose, how to record your songs, how to get the music, schedule your Zoom rehearsals, who can film your performances, where and when to get materials. It's just all so much. But guess what? We're doing the same thing right here in New York City. Seriously, you're learning how to be a multi-hyphenate. You're learning how to produce your own work and make your own choices. This pandemic we're in is awful, and I hope we never experience anything like this again, but we have to pivot and look at the positivity. You are practicing to be a brilliant, strong artist who can create and deliver through anything. Okay, so let's get back to the big question. Why did I cancel my bar mitzvah for Thespians? Well, for those of you that don't know, a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah is a ceremony in the Jewish religion where a child becomes an adult. And it's supposed to happen when you're 13. But remember I said I was a child actor? Yeah, so I kept working and never really quite made it to bar mitzvah lessons. So I turned 13, then 14, and then 15, and then finally I said, okay, let's do it. And I started studying. We set a date, 2 years late, mind you, but then Hurricane Wilma came barreling through South Florida, leaving us without electricity for 2 or 3 weeks. Everything was postponed, including District Thespians. And when was it postponed to? My bar mitzvah date. I ultimately had a conversation with myself and my family and decided that participating in Thespians was more meaningful to me. I was able to express myself wholeheartedly. I was a young gay boy surrounded by so many others that thought like me, sang like me, dressed like me. Thespians was not only what I wanted, but what I needed. So many of you are beginning to understand who you are. Enjoy that journey and be thankful for Florida Thespians, which is an environment that helps you discover through theater the stories that light your ways. Traditionally, in the party after a bar or a bat mitzvah, the now adult goes up to a table with candles and recites poems for each of the people who are issued a candle to light. They call them up for their tables, like grandparents or groups of friends, and light the candles for luck, pose for a picture, and then go back to the tables. Because I didn't have my bar mitzvah, I didn't have my party. But I lit my candles. Every time I was able to perform and be with my co-thespians, every time I was able to express myself, I was lighting my candles for myself, for everyone that came before me, and for all that will come after me. And how fitting is it that the theme for Thespians is keeping the light on. Obviously, that's a nod to stage lights, but there's also another meaning. My friend sharing your art, I am passing the torch to you. With your perseverance and strength, it seems that you have snatched the torch from me anyway. So please, run with it. Make sure that light burns brighter and bolder than ever before. Share your stories, challenge people ideas, teach each other, listen to each other, care for each other, keep the light on. I look forward to seeing you all shine brightly on your virtual performances. I want to ask myself, is my computer screen too bright? Or, oh no, it's just them being amazing. Look, we gotta keep it light, right? Thank you so much for allowing me to speak with you. You are inspiring me. Thank you for barreling through and persevering. Break all the legs. And I'll see you in New York.